Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he's 28 years old, and he's going to share his story of how his girlfriend of a year and a half had a complete and total meltdown when he kicked her to the curb for failing a very important loyalty test. And you're going to see in this story, guys, this guy, he wasn't always RP'd. He didn't always have this knowledge. He was the guy, the typical blue pill nice guy that got cheated on and cheated on by every single girlfriend he had since he was 16 years old. And then one day he decided that's never going to happen again, started learning from people that actually knew what they were talking about, gaining knowledge online, and then met the girl that became his girlfriend and had a good thing going for a year and a half, but then situation arose with her and her friends, and this guy handled it like a boss. This guy has definitely earned his black belt, if you will, in RP knowledge. But I thought it'd be a very good one that you guys definitely enjoy. A lot of very important things here, because you're going to see in this story, guys, how he gets into it, not just with his girlfriend, but also her female friends, and they just don't simply understand this type of stuff and seeing the female mindset here. And this guy's obviously wondering, did he do the right thing? Because not only is his girlfriend having a meltdown, but her friends and other friends and his mom and dad and all that, and he's wondering, did he do the right thing? Which he most certainly did. So I'm going to go through his story here, guys. This is longer. You can obviously tell by seeing how long this video is, but it's a good one. You'll definitely enjoy it. And hearing from this guy's side of the story, because I know a lot of you guys are in various levels of the journey, but this guy, he's done very well. So it starts off, he says, hello, SSM. I've enjoyed the videos you share, and I never imagined that I'd be sharing my own story. But here I am. Even if this doesn't make it to video, I thought the information would be useful to you so you can keep educating other guys. My story went down a little more than a month ago, and all the women in my life seem to think I'm a complete a-hole. And maybe I am, but I don't see it that way. Well, let's be honest here. If women think you're an a-hole, then guess what? You're doing something right. I'll try to keep this short, but as an interesting experience, it was an interesting experience. I guess the main thing I learned was that women can't handle the truth. Dude, you have no idea. Well, you do know now, but you know now after your little experience. I think the best place to start is with my own dating history to explain why I think the way I do and how I got to this place in my life. Right now, I'm 28 years old, and I have a good career that I worked very hard at. Without going into too much detail, I have a comfortable life, and it's only getting better. Good for you. Your life keeps getting better because you're on your grind. You're making things happen for you. Things just don't happen out of nowhere, but a lot of people expect things to happen out of nowhere to make their lives better. You got to work at it, guys. He says, I've had 6 girlfriends from the time I was 16 until now. I've never been this sleep around type of guy. All of my relationships were at least a year long, but one was 2.5 years. Now, it brings me no pride to admit that early in my life, I was a complete blue-pilled simp. In part due to my nature, and in part because of the values that I was raised with. The man is the protector and the provider for his family. My dad did the same way, and as much as it pains me to admit, he still is a simp. Still, he's my dad, and I love him even if he doesn't love himself. Thankfully, my uncle, my dad's older brother, seems to have inherited the only spine in their family, and it was his advice that he gave me after breaking up with my 5th girlfriend. All of them cheated on me, and I'm ashamed to admit that I did everything wrong. I begged, I played the pick-me dance, and I blame myself. It would take a lot longer than I care to write to go into details of my failed relationships, but from what I look at after them, it happening to me 5 times in a row, that there must have been something wrong with me. Yes, and that shows you're growing, man. A lot of people go through life making the same mistakes, and they'll always say it's somebody else. That, the last person they ever want to think that could be causing the problem is them. But you set yourself apart from most people by realizing, you know what, maybe there's something I'm doing wrong that's causing this problem to begin with, so good for you. And about your dad, get in line. There's plenty of guys who grew up with fathers that were completely clueless and weak and let women take advantage of them. Your dad, obviously, I want you to love and respect your dad, but when it comes to advice about women, never take it from your dad because he's obviously clueless. The last girl that cheated on me was the one I had been with for 2.5 years. I thought we had a good relationship going, but I found out from a mutual friend that she'd been cheating on me for most of the time we were together. I never saw it, and that one broke me. That sucks, man. Guys, you go through enough of that in life, you never go back to the same way you once were. You go through enough hardship, whatever that might be, and you're changed forever. And this guy here, one relationship after the other being cheated on, and then finally after this one, that was it. He is never going to be the same again. He was reborn hard, reborn with RP knowledge, and you are going to see here at the end of this story, oh, he demonstrates that quite well. And thank God he had that uncle that gave him the good knowledge. I remember going to talk to my dad after that breakup, and his advice was I need to try harder to make my girlfriends feel important and happy. Smack to your dad. No, Dad, that's not what you do. That's what you kept doing every time with every girlfriend, and they kept cheating on you and taking advantage of you, okay? So why keep doing the same thing over and over again and thinking that things will be different? That's the definition of insanity, okay? I had done everything in my power to make them the center of my world. I know that was a mistake now, but at the time I trusted my dad's advice. Something about what he said didn't sit well with me. If what I was doing for her wasn't enough, there was simply no way to make a woman happy. Well, newsflash, you can't ever make him happy. I gave up everything and put her so high on the pedestal that when she broke me, the fall was pretty far when I hit the bottom. There you go. I respect that you can admit that this is how you were. Some guys try to, skirt around that, if you will. Try to like make it like, oh, I did this, I did that, but you're openly admitting, yeah, you screwed up, and good for you. That's how you grow. Looking at where you're going wrong and fixing it and correcting it. Now, I've never been very insecure, and I know my value. For some reason, I was successful in every area of my life except for women. I decided to go talk to my uncle and get his opinion, and after I finished telling him about all my relationships and how the last one ended, he looked furious. I'm not going to repeat the tongue lashing he gave me, but it was basically to be a man and grow a damn spine. Yes, you needed that. Every guy needs that male figure in their life. Uncle, father, grandfather, preferably father, but usually a lot of the fathers are clueless to help guide them, okay? Your dad, I'm sure meant well, but he just didn't know. He didn't have that guy help him. He told me how my dad had always been weak when it came to dealing with women, and he even went so far as to say that he thought my mom treated him like crap. I never saw it before, but when he said it, I was thinking about life growing up in my home, and he was right. Mom wore the pants in the family. There you go. I was still pretty broken up over losing my latest girlfriend at the time, and my uncle gave me some advice I've adopted into my life that has served me well so far. I think the most important thing he told me was this: never love someone so much that you can't turn your back on them and walk away. The second you're willing to sacrifice your health or happiness for someone else's happiness is the second you become their slave. Yeah, that's exactly it. You got to be at a point, guys, for your relationship, guys, that if she pushes you too far, you're going to walk. The most powerful thing a man can do to show women he's not messing around is walk away. Drives them fucking crazy, okay? Especially when they want to fight and argue and all that. You just walk away. And you got to be prepared to do that anywhere, whether you're on vacation or at a concert or anywhere, or even in your own apartment or house, and she's being unreasonable and starting a lot of bullshit, which will happen from time to time. When she crosses that line, you're going to walk. And also, she also knows that you will walk away forever if she pushes you too far, because you're never going to get the respect otherwise. Women are like little kids, and when little kids know that if you cross that parent, they're going to get an ass whooping, it's night and day. But if they know they can always get away with it, they're not going to respect the parent figure ever, and they'll keep doing more and more bullshit. It's harsh, it's tough, but it's a fact. It says here, then he told me something I still find hilarious today. I guess there was a show on TV a while ago called Married with Children. I'd never seen it, but I watched some clips on YouTube. There was a quote from the dad in the show about women, and I've come to believe it's a fundamental truth. The quote is, "Don't try to understand women. Women understand women, and they hate each other." That, my friend, is from Al Bundy with Married with Children. And I grew up watching that show in the late 80s and early 90s, and end of elementary school and junior high and early high school. And that show is hilarious. And the stuff that Al Bundy said in that show, Ed O'Neill, in today's PC world, they would never allow that today, but it was dead on. He was hilarious. We talked for a long time after he explained what I was doing wrong, which was basically everything. I felt a lot better. He was telling me things I'd never heard before, but they made sense. He's the one that turned me into RP content, which eventually led me to your channel. I swore to myself that I would never let another woman abuse me or my trust again. And let me tell you guys, he doesn't. Anyway, after that last girl, I decided to take a break from relationships for almost 2 years to work on myself and my career. I hit the gym, took up martial arts and some other hobbies, as well as educating myself on RP content. I also started spending more time with my friends. After a year of this, the pain of what I'd gone through was a distant memory, and my life was good. I was in the best shape of my life, physically and financially. Awesome. Look how much you accomplished by putting relationships and girls on the side. You were healing, I know, but you were on your grind. Took up martial arts, training in the gym, hanging out with your bros, educating yourself, working on your career. This is what all guys should do. This is why I tell you, your grind, your purpose, your goals, that comes first. Women are dead last. And notice, guys, you're going to see, and for you guys that have this mindset, when you put them last and all your goals and ambitions first, they chase you. Isn't that great? This leads me to the main part of my story. Yes, we're getting to the main part, guys. Thank you for bearing with me here, but he had to lay the groundwork for the story here. It was about a year and a half ago that I met Stephanie. I was 26 years old at the time. We met at a little festival that takes place in my town annually. I mentioned before that I had taken up martial arts. The school I was attending was at the festival doing a demonstration show looking for new students. I had 2 parts in the demonstration, forms and sparring. When I finished, I was relaxing and talking to people that were watching the demonstration, and that was where I met Stephanie. If I had to describe Stephanie, she had that girl next door look. She's a strawberry blonde without makeup. She's simply gorgeous. She approached me and struck up a conversation talking about how much she enjoyed the demonstration. Newsflash, women like fighters. Women like guys that can kick some ass. It's masculine. Also makes them feel safe. She had 2 friends with her that were also talking. We can call them Rhonda and Zoe. Of course, they were very pretty as well. It seems that pretty women travel in packs. Yes, they do. And fat-ass ugly women also travel in packs too. Birds of a feather flock together. I ended up walking around the festival with them talking, and I found out that Zoe had a boyfriend of almost a year, while Rhonda and Stephanie were both single. After spending a few hours with them, we all agreed to meet up at the local club and go dancing later that night. Without going into too many details, we had a great time at the club and that night, and no, nobody hooked up. That evening, I got to meet Zoe's boyfriend, Daniel, and we all had a really fun night. Stephanie gave me her number, and a long story short, we went on some more dates over the following months, and we were having a wonderful time. Awesome. So far, so good. See, you're doing your own thing, and you happen to meet this chick when you were giving the martial arts demonstration at the festival. She obviously liked you a lot because she walked over to you and struck up conversation. She's chasing and pursuing you the way it should be. And she's making it very easy to hang out with her and her friends. And her friends can see that she likes you, and obviously they approve of you. Therefore, they're making it easy for her. And she invited you out that night. You're all hanging, having a good time. And she gave you her phone number. See, isn't that easy? He didn't do a freaking thing. This is what a guy who's on his purpose, on his grind, and happy with himself and life can expect. He's not chasing after them. Fast forward to about a month ago. Stephanie and I have been dating exclusively for more than a year, and we're having a wonderful time with her. After being with her for more than a year and a half, I was beginning to think she might become someone I would have a future with. But due to my previous experiences, I wasn't in a rush to make things more serious than they needed to be. Good, you learned your lesson in that part. Now, when you say a future with, are you talking about a ring on your finger or just someone that you got a little more serious with? I certainly hope at this point not the ring on the finger. I get the relationship element, but obviously because you're imagining a more serious future with her, you obviously had to make sure she's loyal, and you're going to see here, guys, what happens. It almost seemed that the less attached I was, the more Stephanie was attracted to me. Huh. Imagine that. And it was your dad who told you you need to make them feel more secure with you, more special, more this or that. But now you're making her seem, you seem unattached, and she's more attached to you because of that. Imagine that. Your uncle was right. I knew that I was in love with her, but the lessons from my past were something I was taking very seriously. We had a good thing going. She was attentive to my needs and always made the effort to make me feel important. I'm not going to lie and say that my old tendencies of putting her on the pedestal weren't in my mind, but I didn't. Whatever I was doing was working. You were doing the exact opposite of what you used to do, and therefore, you've been having a good thing going. But as you're going to see, sadly, women nowadays are women nowadays. Sorry for being so long-winded, but I need you to understand that where we were in our relationship up to this point. Other than being monogamous, we hadn't really talked about our relationship or where it was going. Honestly, we were still getting to know each other, and I wasn't in any rush. Good. A man should never be in a rush. A man should never be the one rushing the relationship. It should be the woman bringing up where they stand, where are things going, trying to take things to the next level, because that makes the guy, he's in the driver's seat. Because if she's bringing it up, she really wants you. If the guy's bringing it up, he's chasing, and that's not usually, it doesn't end in a good place. So for you guys, our relationship guys, hang back, let her bring up the idea of getting exclusive when you're ready or whatever. Don't you be the one bringing it up. Don't let you be the one saying I love you first. Not a good place to be. And this is tips for the relationship guy. This isn't the relationship channel. I say that quite often, but I will throw out wise, common sense things for you relationship guys to help you out. Anyway, he says here, at this time, I'm 28 and Stephanie was 29. She had mentioned moving in together a few times, but I wasn't ready to make that kind of leap in our relationship yet. I knew I still had some trust issues from my previous experiences, and we had a good thing going. Why mess up a good thing, man? I didn't see the need to complicate our relationship at this point by moving in together. There's no reason for you to move in together unless you are that serious you want to marry her, and if that's what you want to do, as a final screening process. That's it. But just doing it for the hell of it so you can save some money each month, it's not worth it. And I've done videos on this subject. Stephanie shared an apartment with Rhonda, and my focus is primarily on my career. I learned a long time ago, if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. Good. And right there, focusing on his career. He's 28. That should be his #1 priority. Well, everything changed a couple of hours, and this is why my family and all my friends are still giving me grief. Normally on the weekends, we would all go hang out with friends and just relax after a long week of work. On this particular Saturday, we were meeting at Zoe's apartment. I mentioned before that Zoe had been dating the guy Daniel, but he had recently broken up with her, but I never heard the details of why. It was a shame. They'd been together for a little more than 2.5 years, and I thought he was a stand-up guy. From what I could tell, he always treated Zoe like a queen, but not in a simp kind of way. Trust me, after my own behaviors, I can pick out a simp in a crowd with very little effort. While we were at Zoe's apartment, Stephanie, Zoe, and Rhonda were sitting in the living room while I was there sitting on the floor playing a game on her Xbox. I didn't mind talking with them, but most of the time it was about relationship stuff, and it was fairly boring to me. They were all giving advice to each other about how to make a relationship work, and even though I was trying to ignore them, I found myself laughing at some of the advice. Never, after you've been RP'd and your eyes have been opened up to reality, when you start to hear people talk about the bullshit that's out there, it is very hard not to listen up and speak up. And watch this. Fortunately, I was able to pass it off as something that happened in the game. So there we were, me in my own little world, getting my butt kicked in Call of Duty, and they were talking about how terrible guys were. I was only half paying attention to them, but Rhonda said something that made my ears perk up. She told Zoe that Daniel was just being insecure and that he was an a-hole. In hindsight, I should have ignored them and just continued playing the game. But I was curious about what happened, so I turned off the game and joined Stephanie on the couch. I asked Zoe what had happened to Daniel. So here he is, one guy in a room with 3 other chicks that are yapping about relationships and men and all that. What could go wrong? And I'm sure there's alcohol in the system of all these girls as well. At first, she said he broke up with her for no reason, but that didn't make any sense. Of course, it didn't make any sense. Then she said it was a misunderstanding that he blew it out of proportion. I asked her what was the misunderstanding was, and after a bit of hesitation, she said they were talking about their future. I knew that Daniel was getting pretty close to proposing to her, but as far as I knew, he hadn't as of yet. I told Zoe what she was saying didn't make any sense. Then she admitted what their argument was about. She said they were talking about their relationship and had asked him if he was happy, or if he would want to explore an open relationship to see if that would make their lives more exciting. Imagine that. A gal in her late 20s bringing up open relationship, because that never seems to happen anymore. Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0, boys. She said that as soon as she brought up the idea, he broke up with her on the spot and left, and she couldn't understand why he reacted the way he did. Good for Daniel. It's not rocket science why he did it, because why would any guy want to be in a relationship with a woman and get serious with her who wants to have an open relationship? That she wants some other dude's sausage or sausages. And do you think she really loves a guy that she could care less that other women were touching him? Come on. But of course, he's the bad guy for, God forbid, standing up for himself. She said that as soon as he brought up the idea, he broke up with her, blah, blah, blah. It probably didn't help the situation, but I started laughing. Let's just say that the girls didn't find it as funny as I did. You're laughing because you educate yourself in all this knowledge, and you've heard stories, probably on my channel, obviously my channel, other channels, of how these things usually work out. It was Rhonda that decided to give me a piece of her mind. She said that it wasn't funny and there wasn't any good men out there. Sure. What kind of men are you talking about, honey? If all she goes for are Chads and Tyrones, then yeah, there's a lot. Then you can see scumbags. But what about all the other guys are good guys that she chooses to ignore? All they do is use women for fun and dump them when things start getting serious. I couldn't tell if she was joking or not. But the glare she was giving me told me she was dead serious. And I swear I tried not to, but that only made me start laughing again harder. I'd be laughing too, and I can imagine the dirty looks that you were getting, given they were probably drinking. By this time, Zoe looked at me like she was about to start crying, and Stephanie told me to stop being mean. I remember sitting there feeling like I was in an episode of The Twilight Zone. During that time, I had been educating myself on RP content. I remembered a quote someone had said, and it was flashing in my mind. Women keep women single. I apologized for laughing, and that calmed the room down a little. Rhonda asked me why men are such jerks, and I was able to keep from laughing again. Looking around all their faces, I could see they wanted an answer. I told them they wouldn't like the answer, and I would rather not fight with anyone, but they insisted. The only thing I was thinking about at the time was the line from A Few Good Men, "You can't handle the truth." No, they can't. And he said flat out, you're not going to like the truth. You don't want to hear this. And they said they wanted to hear it. Keep in mind that women like drama. And now you're going to tell a bunch of 3 women that are obviously emotional and intoxicated. You're going to start giving them the ugly truth on all this. Some RP knowledge. How do you think that's going to go, guys? You think there's going to be some drama here? Well, just watch. So I told them, and I hope I didn't violate a man law, I told Zoe that I thought she and Daniel had a great relationship and asked her why she brought up the idea of an open relationship. She said their relationship was starting to feel a little stagnant, and she thought that it would help both of them spice it up and make them a better couple. And where did you get that idea? Some magazine? Or because you read some forum that's a good idea? No, she's probably getting bored, just wants more D. And she knows, obviously, because she's pretty and a woman, she can get as much D as she wants, and he'll get a lot less P than her. That's what's going on. Do you think she wants to hear this? She said that their relationship was starting to feel a little stagnant, blah, blah, blah. I guess that they have friends that another friend I haven't met, and there's been an open relationship for a few months, and she's been singing the praises of the kind of an arrangement. Oh yeah? I don't know have you ever heard anybody in these stories that had a friend, did open relationships, and it worked out well? Come on. I asked Zoe if Dan would ever mention any interest in that kind of relationship, and she said he hadn't. What I said next started to some looks of shock and some yelling from Zoe and Rhonda. Thankfully, Stephanie wasn't piling on me. I asked Zoe why she didn't just break up with Daniel if she wasn't in love with him. She started yelling at me, mostly out of frustration, I think, and said she loved him with all her heart. Yeah, I can feel the love. Let's have an open relationship because I love you so much. She said she thought they were going to spend the rest of their lives together, and he just walked out on her and wouldn't talk to her. If you want to spend the rest of your life with this guy, you don't bring up hooking up with other dudes and him hooking up with other girls. Of course he walked out. This guy actually has some respect for himself and integrity. So I'm not going to put up with this shit. And he walked. That's it. Relationship's over. And he probably knows darn well she has dudes already lined up. Or she's already cheating already. I got them calmed down again. I told them that I would tell them the truth, but I didn't want any of them to get angry with me. And if they didn't like what I was saying, they agreed, so I shared a bit of RP knowledge with them. I asked Zoe what she expected Daniel's reaction to be when she basically told him that he wasn't enough for her and that she wanted to sleep with other men. She tried to argue that it wasn't what she said, but I told her that's what he heard. I told her that no man that is serious about a woman wants to share that woman with other men, and that any man that would agree to an arrangement like that is a simp. Yes, 100%. And I'm sure she didn't like hearing that. Rhonda asked me how I would respond to someone I was dating, brought up that idea, and I laughed. I told her that I would be gone so fast that you would think I was a figment of your imagination. Then I told Zoe that she can't be angry at Daniel because she ruined her own relationship when she told the man she claimed to love that she wanted to sleep with other people. Oh, I'm sure that pissed her off. Both Zoe and Rhonda tried to argue that some couples make those kind of relationships work, but I shut them down. I told her that any high-quality man that has a shred of self-respect would never allow that nonsense into his life. Exactly. The only guys that allow that nonsense into their lives are weak men. They are fearful that if they don't agree to this, they'll lose their woman. But the reality is they had already lost her with her bringing this up. I said, if you want to sleep around, stay single, and I reminded her that she had a man that was faithful to her for 2.5 years in a monogamous relationship, and she decided to change the rules because she wanted to chase butterflies or chads. She wasted 2.5 years of his life. Then I told her that she screwed up because he was about to propose to her and she lost it. I probably could have kept that last part to myself, but pain is a wonderful teacher, and that I know well. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I was trying to get her to understand the consequences of her decision. You're trying to get a pretty girl in her late 20s to understand the consequences of her decisions. That means accountability. Good luck, amigo. It didn't take very long for Zoe to get up and run crying out of the room while both Ron and Stephanie were glaring at me. I told them to stop looking at me like that and reminded them I warned them they weren't going to like my answer, and they promised me they wouldn't be angry with me. You had to know what was going to happen, man. I mean, seriously. I think you were dying to do this, and you know what? Good for you. Good for you having the balls to do it, because a lot of guys would cave. And, of course, you're providing us with good entertainment here. And, of course, this led to, well, you're all going to see in a second. The three of us sat there for a few minutes in silence when Stephanie apologized to me for getting angry. Rhonda didn't apologize, but she did change the topic. She asked why there aren't any good men out there, and I asked her what she meant. Back to that, huh? She said that all guys she meets only want to hook up, but none of them want to be in serious relationships like I was with Stephanie. Then obviously the guys she goes for are the Chad and Tyrones. They just want to hook up and have fun, that's it. But the vast majority of guys out there, probably 90%, they'd be good with a relationship with a pretty girl who was cool and feminine and fun and easygoing and all that. But those girls aren't interested in those 90% of the guys. They want the 10%. I told her that there are really only two types of guys out there. The ones that you're chasing and the ones that are invisible. I told her that she was chasing the guys that are never going to commit to one woman because they don't have to. I read a study that said on a particular app about 80% of the women were chasing 20% of the guys, leaving the other 80% of the guys completely invisible. I think it's more like 90-10, dude. I told her as much as I asked her why would a guy that can date a different woman every day and not have to work for it settle down with just one woman. I told her that she was not looking for a hookup. Those apps are perfect for even below average women and the top tier guys. But if she's looking for a committed relationship from one of them, she was wasting her time. She didn't like the answer, but I told her statistics don't lie and she didn't have to agree with it for it to be true. Well, of course she didn't like that. I think what I told her next may have broken the matrix. I told her that men put women in two distinctly different categories. Those they'll sleep with and those they'll commit to. Just because a guy will sleep with you doesn't mean he'll take you seriously. Rhonda was quiet for a few minutes, but Stephanie asked what men are looking for in a woman for a long-term committed relationship. I told her that men are pretty simple. If it's a quality guy that's serious about relationships and not just a Chad or Tyrone, they're only looking for a few things. Feminine, not argumentative, and faithful. I told them both that was the problem Daniel had with Zoe. She wanted his permission to cheat on him and he bailed. Exactly. Now there are more things to add to that list, like being thin and being in shape and being pretty, and we'll add that to feminine, not argumentative, and faithful. But guys don't need a whole lot. While it's the women that had the giant laundry list that are about as long as the receipts at CVS. You know, you go to CVS and they print out the receipts and it's like this long 10-foot scroll of coupons. That's the typical woman nowadays list of demands for a guy. Rhonda argued that she didn't cheat on him, but I told her that by asking for him for permission, she told him that she was going to. I told him that it's no different than talking to guys on apps for free male validation, and that if you're in a committed relationship and talking to other guys, it might not be physical cheating, but she's getting her emotional needs from someone else outside the relationship, and that is cheating. Exactly. Look at Instagram. Look at all the other apps on there that girls get free attention all the time. It is cheating. Rhonda said that sounded insecure, and there was nothing wrong with talking to people. I asked her if she had a boyfriend that she was in love with, and how would she feel if she found out that he was talking to other women and keeping a secret from her. That brought her up a little short, but countered and said that everyone does it. Well, number one, I believe that sadly, not everyone, but a lot of people do it, and two, it's no excuse. Then she asked me how I would respond if a girl I was dating was talking to other guys but not cheating. I told her the truth. If she was talking to other guys on those apps, I would consider that cheating and I would break up with her. Then she called me insecure and controlling, but Stephanie told her to stop being mean to me because I wasn't controlling. Her friend is you do realize, I'm sure you realize this at the time, that so-called friend of your girlfriend was setting you up and setting the girlfriend up. Misery loves company. Watch this. Now, I don't know if she did it because she was jealous of our relationship or she thought that I was lying. But Rhonda said that she would bet her car that I had other women on those apps that I talked to and that I was a hypocrite. She's jealous and she's drunk and she's pissed off and wants to make trouble for you. That's what's going on. He says, first, I don't like being accused of things I don't do, and I don't like being called names. I told her I had no need to talk to other women because I was in a relationship, and she started laughing and said, prove it. I shrugged and pulled out my phone out of my jacket, unlocked it, and handed it to Stephanie and told Rhonda I didn't have anything to hide. At first, Stephanie was just staring at my phone, but Rhonda was egging her on to look through it. So she did. She spent about 5 minutes going through everything, and what she found was contacts for the people I work with and a few of my guy friends, her and her friends, and my family. No dating apps, no chats with anyone. Like I said, I didn't have anything to hide. Yeah, because you're a man on your purpose, on your grind, and you already have a girlfriend, and you don't have time to be wasting your time talking to other women or trying to get free attention and all that. And you also have some freaking integrity, which is rare nowadays. When she finished, she handed my phone back and told Rhonda that there was nothing in it, and the look of shock on her face was priceless. I guess she really believed that was how everyone behaved, and she apologized to me. That would have been the end of it, but there was still one more thing to do. I held up my hand to Stephanie, and she looked at me a bit confused. Guess what's happening, guys? He's like, all right, girlfriend, let's see your phone. I told her to unlock and hand me her phone so I could look through it, and I told her my love and devotion came with a price. Her love and devotion. I told her the correct answer when I handed her my phone would have been, no thank you. I trust you. The second she went through my phone, she told me that she didn't really trust me. Yeah. I could see the panicked look on her face, but I asked her for her phone again, and her hesitation told me all I needed to know. If she had nothing to hide, she could hand you the phone, especially since you just handed your phone when her friend was deliberately stirring that bullshit up. There was something on her phone that she didn't want me to see. She said that she wasn't comfortable letting me go through her phone, and I asked her one more time to let me see it, and she said no. So I gave her one more chance, and nope. Something was on that phone, all right. It was a shame. I really like Stephanie, but you can't make people be who they aren't. I told Rhonda, well done. Now, both of her friends were single, so they could all hang out together and see if they could go find a guy to take them seriously. Stephanie asked me what I was talking about with a look of fear in her face. I stood up and told her that I enjoyed our time together, but she just failed the girlfriend test. She started freaking out, and Rhonda started yelling at me. I told Stephanie that I would pack the things she had in my apartment, and she could stop by the next day to pick them up, and I walked out of the apartment. Good for you, man. This is the same guy, remember, who was the blue-pilled nice guy that was taking advantage time after time again. But he was born again hard. He is now a black belt in RP and not putting up with any shit. That little test told him everything he needs to know. This is the girl he's been with for a year and a half, thinking about potential future. And see how her friends all think? Well, everybody talks to people online and blah, blah, blah. She started freaking out, and Rhonda started yelling at me. I told Stephanie that I would pack the things up she had my apartment, and she could stop by the next day to pick them up, and I walked out of the apartment. Stephanie was chasing after me, trying to get me to talk to her, so we stopped beside my car. She was promising me that there was nothing bad on her phone. She just wasn't comfortable letting me go through it. Yeah, sure. I told her I didn't believe her, since she was willing to throw away our 1.5-year relationship over something so minor if there was nothing on her phone. I told her I was sorry it didn't work out, and that I didn't want to fight with her, but our relationship was over by her decision. So you're being calm and just walking away, and it's making her crazy. I can just picture this scene, her running after you, crying and yelling, and her friend yelling at you and cursing at you. Pretty entertaining to watch. She was still begging me to talk to her when I got in my car and drove home. I barely made it down the street when she started blowing up my phone with calls and texts to talk to her. I ignored them. I hated that our time together came to an end in such a stupid way, but I swore to myself that I would never let another woman abuse my trust. Yes, like I said, you can only go through that type of stuff so many times before you are just, it's never going to happen again. End of story. And 6 times he said this happened to him. Never again. And look what hell he learned from the RP knowledge. See right there, she's hiding her phone, she's hiding something. Because her friends are obviously the same way. He says, well, that was about a month ago, and Stephanie's still trying to get me to talk to her. When she came over the following day after I broke up with her, she tried to hand me her phone to look at. But I told her it was too late, and she had plenty of time to delete anything she wouldn't want me to see. Yeah, a little late. Now she's handing the phone after she had all this time to delete every little possible thing on her phone. Not happening. I didn't want to fight with her, and I was really in love with her. But my uncle was right. Never love someone so much that you can't walk away from them, or you'll become their slave. The old you would have stayed with her. The old you wouldn't have had that whole conversation with her friends because you didn't have that knowledge. And certainly the old you wouldn't have done what you did. Over the last month, my mom, my dad, my sister, and all our mutual friends, and Zoe and Ron have been trying to get me to talk to Stephanie and saying that I'm being unreasonable and unfair. It is none of their damn business. You're a grown-ass man, 28 years old, on your grind, taking care of yourself, paying your own bills in your own place, and you break up with a girl for whatever reason, it's your business. And by the way, notice all the people that are saying he's being unreasonable are either women or they're blue-pilled men. You gotta take their advice? Where to get you in the past taking advice from people like that? Heartache and pain. Maybe I am, but I can only be me. I'll probably take a break with relationships for a while and get back in my own life. I'm not sure that relationships work anymore. Those damn phones give people too many options for monogamy to work. I'm pretty torn up about this, but at least I'm not broken like I was before. Maybe she wasn't cheating on me, but the fact that she wouldn't let me see her phone was well enough to tell me there was something that she didn't want me to see. So, you be the judge, SSM. Am I an idiot, or did I dodge a bullet? Well, the pressure's on me now, huh? Bro, you handle that exactly the way I would have handled that, and the way I'd tell any of you guys to handle it. So, good job. No, you were not an idiot. You handled that like a boss. Good job. And after all the shit you've been through and all the pain and heartache you went through with all of the previous relationships, girls cheating on you, and how you were that nice guy and put on the pedestal and did all the things your dad told you to do, look where that got you. But you finally said no more. You took a good hard look at your life, where you were going wrong. You listened to your uncle, the only guy you said has a spy in your family, and you changed and you were born again hard. Good for you. No, you did nothing wrong. You dodged a bullet there because let's just say maybe she didn't have something going on physically with somebody, but I guarantee you she was talking to somebody. Guaranteed, especially if you happen to know she was on social media getting attention and all that. Trust me, she would have shown you the phone if nothing was there. Something was there. And obviously her friends are like this. So, no, you're not in the wrong here. Move on. Do not listen to your ex and her friends and your family. They don't know. It's your life. Do what you want. Okay? You handle it just right. Okay? I'm proud of you. I'm sure that wasn't easy because I know you spent 1.5 years with her, but it's done. I have no idea whether she had something physically going on with somebody. I really don't. Hopefully not. But you did the right thing. Now, what I want you to do now Let's go back to doing what you've been doing for the last few years. Focusing on your grind, your purpose, bettering yourself. Back to martial arts. If you spent, obviously, a couple days a week in martial arts, and obviously other time with your girlfriend, well, now you got more free time to dedicate another day a week to martial arts, or at the gym, or working to get that promotion, or whatever it is to better yourself and move on, okay? Purpose and grind, number one. Girlfriend's dead last. And when you're ready to heal again, maybe you'll go down that path, maybe you won't. But you did the right thing. Good job, man. A lot of people can learn from you. See, guys, the really good thing about this story is that we all make mistakes when we're younger. We all do, including me. But there's a point after enough bad experiences, you're never going to feel that way again. And you'll do everything you can to learn and gain knowledge and essentially, like I said, be born again hard. And never going to happen again. And right there. Because the old him would have made a mistake and probably never would have asked, let alone said walked away. But he did this time. And look how she's chasing after him. And she ain't going to let it go, dude. She's going to keep bugging you and bugging you and bugging you. The point's going to come, you may have to say, look, don't bother me anymore. We're done. Otherwise, we're getting a restraining order. But anyhow, we'll see. All right, bro. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And by the way, bro, guy wrote this story. I just want to say this real quick. I'm sure you're going to have updates. I'm sure this isn't over yet. So please, down the road, let us know how you're doing. Let's hear about some updates, how things continue on, what happens next. I'd like to have a part 2 to this story and a part 3. I think we all would. And also, guys, by the way, if you got a good story you'd like to share, email to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just make it easy for me to read, and I'll definitely cover it down the road. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.